Good evening, everybody. My name is Dekoba, and welcome to another episode of Worldshaping, our Minecraft Let's Play and Guide. Now, in our first two episodes, we spent some time sort of acclimating to our environment, finding a place and building a shelter, and then going into some caves and establishing a basic food source. So we're now in a good spot to branch out a little more and sort of enjoy the game how we want to. Now, in order to do that, we're actually going to take the next few episodes and focus on different aspects of the game. I've spent a little time off camera. I built a second furnace, gathered up some fish. And in this episode, I think we're going to talk about farming and how we can grow our farm. And when I talk about farming here, I'm talking about agrarian farming, raising cattle, growing food, and things like that. So we'll expand our wheat farm in this episode. We'll expand our pen and divide it into two and talk about some of the nuances there and why we might want to do it. If we have time, we may see if we can find a carrot or a potato so we can start growing additional crops, as well as start gathering pigs. All right, let's go ahead and get right into it. So in our last episode, we actually finished up by smelting a whole bunch of iron. And with that iron, we can make some new tools that'll be very important for us. First thing we're going to make is some shears. This will let us harvest from our sheep without killing them, which is very important. The second important tool we're going to make is a bucket. And then lastly, we're going to go ahead and equip ourselves just a little bit better. We're going to make a shield that'll protect us if we ever get caught in the wrong side of a fight. We'll make an iron pickaxe so we can mine a little bit better into the deeper levels, and we'll make some iron armor to just sort of protect us as we're out in the world. That'll protect us from damage from monster attacks and things like that. So we need some iron legs to wrap that up. And then we will equip all of these and be on our way. So that gave us a couple of new advancements: suit up, Isernit, iron pick, and acquiring hardware. Now, as far as farming goes, we've got the basics of a cattle farm and a wheat farm. We'll want to expand that soon, but in the short term, let's talk about some of the other things we can farm. We can obviously do other crops, and they adhere to some of the same sorts of things, but there are also some things you might not expect. Since we're so near a desert, we can actually set up a cactus farm. And a cactus farm is an important part of setting up an experience farm a little later, as well as a source of green dye. To farm cactus, you simply need to break the cactuses. If you have a stack and it's right at the edge of a cliff like that, you can actually mine out underneath it, and that'll break all of them at once. Otherwise, you can use an axe and chop them down just like you would a tree. Now, a cactus will grow up to 3 high on its own. So we've gathered up 8 cactus here. We'll go ahead and take that back and plant that here in just a minute. While we're over here, I do want to grab some of this sugarcane, because sugarcane is one of the other things that's going to be very important for us to plant and grow and harvest quite a lot of. It'll be one of the most useful crops we can gather. And since there's quite a lot right here near our base, we'll go ahead and gather that up, and we can start a pretty substantial sugarcane farm just as soon as we get back, which will be excellent. Now, sugarcane is used to make paper, and paper serves 3 major purposes. One of those is it's used to make books, and books are important when we want to start enchanting our gear to give us better protection, to help us mine materials more efficiently, and to do more damage in combat. The second thing paper is used for is making maps, and maps are used when we want to start going on adventures that take us a little farther from home, where we may not be able to see the path back as easily, especially if we want to go quite a long ways to some distant biome that can't be found nearby. And the third use is as a trading item. Paper is one of the cheapest materials to get in very large quantities, and it's useful when you find a villager who can purchase paper from you in exchange for emeralds. And there are two villagers that can do that. Cartographers will trade paper, and then librarians will also trade paper. And between the two of them, paper can be very useful. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into our desert, and we're going to go ahead and lay out our cactus just like this. Now, by spacing out the cactus like this, it'll grow up nice and evenly, and we can actually set this up a little later to automate this to go into sort of an automatic mining farm, and or an automatic cactus harvesting farm, and we'll talk about that. For now, this cactus will grow up to 3 layers, and we can come by and dig it up and replant it. As we walk, we're going to go ahead and clear a little bit more grass, see if we can't get some more seeds, so that we can expand our wheat farm as well. Now, wheat is another farmable crop that's useful to do in large quantities. This is for a few purposes. Number one, its use as a food source in making bread, and then also because it can be used to create decoration and to feed herds of animals, which is very nice. Looks like we have a little bit of wheat ready to harvest, so we may be able to expand our herd soon as well. Let's go ahead and pick those up, and then use the seeds that we were able to gather while we were out exploring, plus the ones from the harvest. Go ahead and replant. And we'll go ahead and dig up a new patch up here. Now, I think I want to make this entire sort of level a giant wheat field. So we'll go ahead and start by doing that over in this corner where things are already kind of at that level. So we'll go ahead and clear out all of the grass up here, pick up some more seeds. We'll go ahead and gather up these flowers as well, and we'll talk about how we might be able to use those flowers a little later when we get to food. They can also be used to make dye, of course. Alright. It's looking pretty good. Go ahead and replant that dirt there. We don't need that. Now, in order to farm, we need to be able to irrigate our crops. Since we're going to go ahead and use this corner here as the space, we're going to count in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more. So this is the row we're going to be in. We're also going to count out from this edge, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one more. So there's going to be our water source for the first part of our farm. Now, the bucket that we created out of iron is used to transport liquids, and water is one of the liquids we can transport. By filling in a single block there, then it'll irrigate anything within 4 blocks of this in any direction. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the maximum direction that this will go without additional water. And we can do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And that extra one actually won't be covered by this water spot, so we'll get that in a later one, and it'll refill on its own in good time. And then we can come out here 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this should go all the way across to the edge of the platform. Now, if we wanted to expand this farm a little more, we could duplicate this effect. Since we have a little bit more over here, let's go ahead and count in from, say, this wall. So we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll count in from 1, 2, 3, 4. So that actually puts a block here. It looks like we may need to actually split that up into a few more. Let's go ahead and do it along the back wall instead. So in this one, we only need to go out to this far. So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here's our row, and then 2, 3, 4, and right there. And so we can fill that with water as well and expand our plantable area to that region. Take our hoe and dig that out. Now, by working in this way and simply placing these sort of water holes along as we go, we'll actually create significant opportunity for to solve a few problems. Number one, we'll have massive fields of wheat, which I think look really cool. And number two, we'll be able to light our fields so monsters won't spawn in them. And we'll talk about how we can do that in just a minute. Go ahead and finish planting out the various wheat seeds that we've picked up. And that looks like it's off to a good start. Looks like no more of our initial crop of wheat is ready. Go ahead and grab just a little bit more water before we leave the water hole. And then let's talk about our animals. Now we have some animals here, and they're in these two... There are two types of animals are in this pen together. Unfortunately, that's going to make it difficult later on when we only want to sort of work with one type of animal. Either we want to shear the sheep, or we want to harvest the cows. In order to resolve that, we're actually going to go ahead and expand that pen and split it into two. So let's head back and make some another axe so that we're able to harvest more wood. And we'll go ahead and make an iron axe this time. And then just to keep our theme the same, we'll go ahead and make this out of dark oak. It looks like the sun is just about to set. Let's actually head inside and wait for that to happen before we try this. As the sun sets, we will go to bed. Not quite there yet. The sun is considered set once the block of the sun has touched the horizon. That's when you're allowed to go to bed. All right. And just like that, it's morning again, and let's head on over and gather up some wood. Looks like a zombie did spawn in the night. Let's go ahead and take a swing at him so that we get some experience when he dies. If you do damage to a monster within 5 seconds of their death, you'll actually get experience when they die, regardless of whether or not you're the sort of the impetus of their death, whether you're the final cause. Go ahead and harvest this tree. And you can see that the iron axe is doing a great job of getting us through this material much faster than we were getting with a stone axe. Chop through some more of this wood. Now there's quite a lot of farmable crops. We could farm, for example, mushrooms. We could farm pumpkins. We could farm melons once we find them. And a lot of these are going to be useful to farm, but they may be a little more difficult and a little less valuable compared to some of the more readily available crops. Wheat is one of the very valuable crops to farm. So are animals and sugarcane. So those are the things we're focusing on. And we're going to go ahead and craft a bunch of dark oak planks and then make some dark oak fences. I think we need some more sticks for that as well. So we'll go ahead and make a whole bunch of sticks. There we go. Gather the planks we dropped. And let's make a bunch of dark oak fences. So we're going to want to expand our pen significantly. 60 dark oak fences should be a good start. Let's head on over and expand the pen. Now, as a part of this, we'll go ahead and sort of break away some of the blocks we'd put in. And we're going to go ahead and expand this pen out, sort of fill out this region. And in order to help keep the animals separated, we're actually going to divide the pen into two parts as well. And we'll try and separate out the sheep into one side and the cows into the other. So we'll go ahead and finish off a divider here. And then 4, 5, 6. And clear out all of this grass, since it won't do the animals any good and it might give us some seeds. 6. And that should be good for now. I'm saving a little bit of wood for the purpose of eventually putting in a chicken pen as well, because that's the third type of sort of easily available animal that we can ranch or farm like this. All right, now that we've got those, let's try and separate out. It looks like one sheep has already gone across, so let's go ahead and see if we can't sort of trick the animals into splitting for us. And what we really want is just a few sheep to come across and a few cows stay behind. So if we do that and then we put our wheat away, looks like most of our cows have come across, but all of our sheep have as well. Let's just let them sort it out a little bit. There we go. Looks like the cows are starting to head back. Let's get our fence back out. There we go. Now we do have a few cows on this side and we do have a sheep on that side. That's okay. We'll actually go ahead and harvest those. And that way we can end up with sort of the correct animals on the correct sides. Now we do have one fence gate. I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and use that fence gate. I'm gonna put that on the sheep side. And then we can go ahead and just sort of leave the cows alone for now. We won't be spending much time actually in their pen with them for quite a while. Let's go ahead and drop this andesite. I don't think we need that just yet. But we can take this wheat that we have and start expanding our flock and our herd. Go. And there we go. So now we've got 2 new baby cows of new baby sheep. And just as a final touch, let's go ahead and use those shears to shear our sheep. By using shears on them, we can gather their wool without damaging them. And in time, they will eat the grass underneath them, and that will allow them to sort of regain their wool. You can see the baby sheep actually ate some grass there. Alright. And just so that we have an easy time getting back into the cow's pen when we need it, we'll go ahead and set up the jumping blocks like we had before. Alright. This is looking a lot better. We'll have an easier time sort of taking care of the correct animals now, and I think that's looking good. The last thing I want to do in this episode is set up the sugarcane farm, and I'm a big fan of doing this right near the water source, right near the river, although I think for this one we're actually going to do it in our desert over here by our cactus farm as well. And you can actually be very space efficient with a sugarcane farm by simply digging out a sort of L-shaped night pattern from each hole, because the sugarcane needs to be planted directly adjacent to a water block. So by taking our water and placing it in each of these, then each of the 4 areas immediately surrounding it can then be planted with sugarcane. You'll notice that no matter how much we try, we can't plant it anywhere else. So we'll gather up some more water, plant another sugarcane. I'm actually going to create another water source up here, I think, just to make it a little bit easier to move water quickly. And you can create a water source with sort of two water blocks set in a 2x2 diagonal pattern. So we put that one in the far corner there. That's causing all the water to flow this way. If we put another one there, then it will take care of that. And you can already see the sugarcane is dying off because it doesn't have anything. Now this water source is infinite. We can pull water from any part of it and just keep using it. So we can keep digging out these blocks and filling them, and this water source will continue to provide water for us. Here you go. Now all we need to do is plant our sugarcane in the blocks that are bordering the water, and the sugarcane will grow naturally to a height of 3 blocks. So by planting these here, the sugarcane will start to grow up above the edge of the water. Looks like we need 1 more block, so we'll go ahead and dig one there. Just a little bit more water. Okay. And as the sugarcane grows, and it looks like we have a little bone meal, so we can demonstrate this. Put bone meal. We not bone. It's crazy. I was sure we could bone meal sugarcane. Does it need to be planted on grass to bone meal? Use bone meal? Let's try that. Huh, that's wild. All right, well, I'm glad we found that out. I wouldn't want to mislead anybody. All right, so you can generally use bone meal as a fertilizer, as we saw in the previous episode, to get more wheat in order to help crops grow more quickly. And you can see our cactus farm is already starting to yield cactus. The sugarcane will grow in a similar fashion, and we'll be able to use that sugarcane to further grow our field or to start crafting some of the things we'll use sugarcane for. Let's double check on our wheat field and see if anything has grown. Looks like our new sort of expansion is starting to fill out a little bit, and we have quite a bit from the lower level that is ready for harvest, so we'll go ahead and harvest that. One of the things I like to do is plant as much wheat as I can, and then focus on some of the other things that we like to do in the game, like building, which will sort of give that wheat time to grow and really time to fill out a little bit, at which point the fields just grow exponentially. You get about three seeds for every piece of wheat that you harvest. And so once this field has grown, we'll be able to expand very easily out into the rest of this plateau. And we'll actually have a much harder time sort of creating the tools to till the dirt than finding seeds to plant. All right, well, I think that's an excellent start. It looks like our wheat field is off to a good start. I think we're out of time, so we'll save the potatoes and the carrots, as well as the chicken farming and pig farming for another day. I'd like to thank you guys all for watching, and I think in our next episode, we are going to take a look at mining again and see if we can't go back into the depths and find some more diamonds. We'll also talk about some mining techniques and strategies that'll make mining very efficient. So thank you everybody for hanging out. Hopefully you've had a good time, and we'll see you next time.